Hello, everyone. What's going on? Much love. I am here on my balcony, and I hope you all are enjoying your summer. It's a Nick summer. Much love. World FIFA. And a lot of people out there are enjoying American culture from all different walks of life. So give thanks for that because a lot of us, we've been getting a lot of hate all over the world. Hey, we don't really run the politics, right? We understand that America has been hijacked, and not just by the president. I mean, it's been hijacked for a very long time. But anywho, today I am going to get into the discussion on the best solution for those that are serious. Now, I am going to share my screen because there are things that I want to discuss today that are very important that you need visuals for. I saw a documentary last night of the homelessness situation in the United States, particularly for the elderly. Right now, over 40,000 elderly are homeless in the United States right now. It's projected that by the year 2030, that number is going to double. Okay, double and some change to 106,000. Something I find very interesting is that some people are profiting off of the fact of, you know what, let's just go ahead and buy parking lots because more and more young people and also the elderly are looking into sleeping in their cars because they have nowhere else to go. So they buy the parking lot, they pay the security guard to watch, you know, situations that occur. And they have a carport there where people are able to get up in the morning, make their coffee, make their breakfast, sit down, read a book, or even in the evening, make lunch, whatever, dinner, socialize with those also who live in essentially their cars and in the parking lot. And then they have porty potty restrooms. Okay. And then from there, people who need to shower or freshen up, they have gym memberships, they go to the gym. We have this rise of glorified homelessness, also known as the nomadic lifestyle. And for some people, they say digital nomad lifestyle. Um, and it really depends. Like there's a spectrum of it because a lot of people, purposely said, you know what, it just makes sense for me to have a bus that I renovate and it's livable and it makes more sense and I want to travel, I want to do all these things. We own land, we own property and things like that we don't have to, you know, um, vacate from or got evicted from. But then you also have those who are living in their cars for shelter because they have nowhere else to go. They've been evicted, they've been put out. And this is happening more and more and more. And so, as young people, we don't necessarily care as much, but we really should, especially Gen Z. I was watching the documentary, woman that was 80 years old, her social security check is 1,033. Okay. $1,033 every month. Another guy, his social security check was about $1,300 a month. All right. They got put out of their situation because they couldn't work anymore, but they also couldn't afford the rent in their area and they're elderly. Now, Social Security said that they're going to run out of Social Security come year 2032. Okay. So that is in the next 6 years where the trust fund is going to be completely empty. Okay. So Gen Z is going to be earning significantly less because the average Social Security payment is about $1,800 a month. Okay. But for Gen Z, they're not even going to get to $1,800 a month, probably not even $900 a month because it's going to be gone essentially. So this is something that people need to pay attention to because the elderly are popping up on the street more and more and more, living in their cars more and more and more. And as the economy is getting out of hand, more and more young people are going to start resorting to living in their cars. Not because of the whole digital nomad lifestyle, but because it is a survival mechanism. It's a survival mechanism because they don't have anywhere else to go. Okay. So let's get into the solutions. Let's get into the solutions today. Okay, let me share my screen. All right. As y'all can see, okay, this is this is a property. Now, I just selected an area. This is just Oklahoma. You can go and look at properties all over the United States where there's land for sale. It's so much of it, they're not going to get rid of it. A lot of people are not really attracted to land with no zoning and no restrictions and in the middle of nowhere because they feel like it's a lot of work. It's not a lot of work if we all do it together. Okay. So, my website, landkendra.com, where we come together and buy land, I'm just giving y'all an example. This property, okay, 20 acres is $58,000. This property is $58,000. You can look through the property, very beautiful, wooded, secluded. Yes, of course, you're going to need a car, ideally, a truck, a 4x4, preferably, right? But again, I'm providing some solutions right now. So, if 50 people, which is what you would need anyway to unlock our group, get together and decide, you know what, we got to pay the lawyer to form the entity. Okay. This could be a business or cooperative or whatever. We paid a little $5,000. We also understand that you got to pay title fees, closing costs, etc., escrow fees or whatever. We may be coming out of this property with $75,000. Okay. Just to buy the property, put it in the entity, and to pay the escrow fees, closing costs, etc. About maybe roughly about 75, okay? Give or take. Divided by 50, divided by 50, that is $1,500 each, folks. $1,500 each, people. And then from there, we all own the land, clear and free. Clear and free. Just to use the website, my website, landcountry.com, you just pay $40 lifetime fee. And then we can get inside the group. We can buy the land together. You send the money to the escrow company. You don't send it to us. We don't hold it. You send the money to the escrow company, the vetted escrow company. Okay? Because they're regulated. They can't just run off with your money. Okay? They're legal. And then from there, we go on about our business. And now you have a property that you can develop. Okay, now we bought the property. Everybody paid $1,500 each. Now let's work on the well. Now let's pay to have somebody clear the property. That's another $1,500. But you can pay that in increments. 1 year you pay the land. The next year you pay to clear it or whatever y'all gonna do. Then the next year you put $1,500 towards what? Building a road or something like that, or getting the well, installing electricity, or spinning it on solar panels. Does everybody see what I'm talking about? So we can do this. It doesn't have to be complicated. Good question. What's going on, Jeremiah? Good question. Okay, let me answer this. Hold on, I got this cookie website. Okay, what is your opinion on van life, digital nomadism in order to cope with the housing crisis and economic inflation? Okay, like I said, double-edged sword. Okay, first and foremost, I do believe nowadays that the whole van life, digital nomadism for some people is glorified homelessness. Okay, for me, when I showed y'all my digital nomad lifestyle, when I started this whole journey years ago back in 2020, it was not glorified homelessness for me. I was never homeless. And thank God, by the grace of God and the divine, of course, myself, I have never been homeless. Okay, so um, however, I did subject myself for like maybe 2 months. No, I would say about 4 months of going all over the United States of sleeping in my car because I spent like ooh, maybe about $3,000 to $4,000 in hotels. And I said, you know what? How about I go to someone's land, spend the money, pay them to camp. And I also had a wall tent. I had a wall tent, which is like a mini tiny house essentially. It was a 12 by 14, and it had windows, it had a door, had a back window as well, screens and stuff like that. It was luxurious. I ain't gonna lie. A lot of my counterparts called it the Taj Mahal of tents. But it was stressful to carry that tent, uh, or take it down and put it up. It would take about 3 to 4 hours by myself. So I just was like, you know what? I'm going to sleep in my truck, but it was always on someone's land. It was never like, um, yeah, it was never like how some people unfortunately have to go and do it on the street or in neighborhoods and things like that. um that's a real problem. Even when I was rolling around like in the California area, you kind of get profiled because you have a setup rig where you know it looks like you're on the road as a nomad or on the road camping, and they do not like people that have that kind of freedom. And some people, for some it may not be freedom, for some it may be because they are going through a housing crisis. They are going through this life of, they're not just traveling here to explore, parts of the world. Like myself, I went all the way from the top of California down to the bottom. Absolutely enjoyed the California area. But some people are just, they are exploring the California area because they're from that area and they can't afford the rent. So they're doing the whole digital nomad thing, or engaging in glorified homelessness, which is living in their cars, sleeping in their cars, and not being honest about their situation, if that makes sense. So, you know, this is not to shade anybody on this journey. This is not why I'm making this video. I'm making this video to show us that we do have a solution, people. You can do this anywhere all over the world through my app. Seriously. Get people to sign up, right? Get your people to sign up or whatever and say, you know what? This is clean. We show you how to do it from XYZ. Like, hey, this is what you need to do. We have resources on these people. We have real estate agents, escrow readiness resources, etc., to be able to show you, hey, this is what you need to get by. And you come out the situation paying $1,500, you're also a part of a corporation. Right now, I'm working on showing y'all how to set up the other entity, such as the car co-op, okay? Where if you don't even have a car, we set up a car co-op. Because I know people are wondering, well, this is an isolated area. How we gonna move around in this area, right? We need a 4x4. Okay, if y'all got 50 people, some of them probably already have cars, some people already have trucks or whatever the case may be. How about we set up a car co-op? Okay, together, together we do the same thing, right? We can do the same thing. Let's say we need two trucks. We'll buy them used. Let's say we need two trucks. They're both $15,000 each, cash. Okay, so we got 30,000. Again, let's just say we need about, for a complex entity where we're forming. Let's just say we are forming an entity that's going to cost us another $5,000. Okay, so in total with taxes and everything like that, let's just say it comes out to be $40,000. This is just for two trucks. Okay, so again, 40,000 divided by 50 people, that's $800. Okay, $800. Everybody decides, okay, we're going to pay $800. This is also going to cover the registration fees and everything like that as well, to register the trucks. We just bought two trucks. And then from there, they're in our co-op, which means you're also a part of the co-op. And from there, we all write an agreement up that says, hey, this person is able to utilize this truck or whatever the case may be. It belongs to the cooperative. We have voting rights, we have sharing rights, right? Or whatever. We have a certain schedule where this person is able to utilize this car to get back and forth into town. Okay. And we can continue to do this. We can continue to do this. You could put, you could say, you know what, every 4 months we buy a vehicle. Every 4 months we buy a vehicle. Okay, twice a year, or just not twice a year. We could just say for 1 year, right? After you put the money down for the land, okay, and then now we can work on vehicles, or then now we say we can work on the well, or we work on electricity, or we work on the septic, or whatever else that we need, right? As a group in a unit, we can decide what is the priority. But it does not have to be this whole we do everything by ourselves. This is why there's so much land available in America, because people are like, it takes so much money to develop these communities. But we're not thinking like we can do it together. We can literally do it together. You can do this in Europe, you can do this in Asia, you can do this in Africa, you can do this in South and Central America, North America, wherever. You can do it anywhere. My focus right now is to at least get our first group to execute on this. At least get the first group. You need anywhere between 500. I'm gonna just put this in the chat. You need anywhere between 500 to $1,500 ready. Okay? And you can send that to the escrow company. We don't take your money. We don't manage your money. All right? But when you talk to these real estate agents like this woman is Natasha Butler. You talk to a real estate agent, they're going to want the money right now. People that are ready right now. So you got to have the money up front. Even to join our app, right? You got to have the money up front. You got to be ready just to join it. So I want y'all to go on there, go to landkendra.com, check it out, see it for yourself. All right, see it for yourself. And then when you're ready, sign up. These deals, we want to close them within 3 to 6 months, every group. All right. And we own it free and clear. The business is not an active business. It's just a business that's created just to put the land in it. So we don't face all these other different liabilities, right? So, yeah, like I said, given the example for the co-op, the car co-op, putting the cars in the co-op or some kind of LLC or whatever the case may be, and then we all again agree and set our own terms and conditions for how we utilize the vehicles, so that somebody can use the vehicle for whatever reason and whatnot, right? Until they're able to save up and get their own car if they want, right? But again, how we rise up in our communities is by sharing, is by coming together and buying the land, buying the vehicles together, buying the wells, investing in the septic systems together, or whatever it is, investing in the electricity system, solar together, so that we're not spending 500,000 just to develop 20 acres. That's crazy. We can all do it together for cheap, starting anywhere between $500 to $1,500. Need 50 people. And yes, 50 people can live on 20 acres comfortably. And don't tell me we can't do it. Don't tell me we can't do it. A lot of y'all live on 0.5 acres. Not even 0.5. A lot of y'all live on 0.10. That's the average lot in the inner cities. Detroit, Chicago, New York. New York is even smaller. 0.05 of an acre. I don't want to live too close to people. You live on top of people already. Cut it out. At least with this, you'll have a lot more space. You have a lot more space. And ideally for the community in Costa Rica that I'm building, people, of course, what I have is a bit more expensive. Like, just to get in our community, you do have to have 9,000 per person. For couples, it's 12,000. But in our community, it's a requirement for people to know how to build. Okay, and I teach people how to do that with the natural building. We will also have professional builders that also help too, but the basics, I teach so that people get an idea as to how to do it. And then if we all need to help each other build each other's structures, we do that because that's part of our community. Okay. Because the biggest expense you're going to pay for is your shelter. That's the biggest expense. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, let's go back. Let's see. Let's look for like New Jersey, for instance. Okay, New Jersey, for instance. Say, for instance, here, New Jersey, they want $500,000 for 104 acres. Okay, Blueberry Field. There's some other different things they have. Seeking privacy, outdoor recreation, or whatever the case may be. $500,000. New York, New Jersey is relatively dense, and you can get to New York, you know, from New Jersey. So, say for instance, this is a bigger group. We'll say we'll do maybe with everything with this property and closing costs or whatever. I'll just say let's tack on another 100,000 and another 5 to 10,000 for our cooperative. Okay, so we're coming out the gate 600. I'll just say $635,000 divided by let's see 2,000 people. That's crazy. Divided by 2,000 people that join the group is $317. This is the kind of content that need to be going viral on TikTok. $317. Can 2,000 people live on 104 acres comfortably? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know how many people live in New York on top of each other? On top of each other with 5 acres? Yeah, okay. I don't blame you. I really do think you should stabilize your business as a full-time entrepreneur because what else is the alternative? Stabilize yourself is the main thing. Stabilize yourself and also come together with others. If you can put at all times for yourself for cooperative purposes, you know, put $2,000 to the side. Don't touch it. Put it in the asset where it can grow or something like that because you just don't know. I feel like I said, I'm building something that is fresh, it's new, and it's early. A couple years ago, like I said, 4 years ago, I created a group where we all needed $2,000 to come together to buy land. And I told people, if you don't have the money, don't even join. Don't care about the excuses, none of that. 40 people joined. 40 people said they were ready. Let's go. The problem was I didn't have a lot of knowledge and information. You know, I have to admit I was ignorant on the complexity of dealing with 40 people and how we were going to actually put it together, right? Should we do a trust? Should we do a church, cooperative, a business? There was a number of different things that I was ignorant on. I didn't know what we should do. Also, having to be able to get to gauge if people uh, were actually ready financially. Like if this was your last $2,000 or you didn't care about the $2,000, what did people really expect from me? With this $2,000, right? And again, I didn't know these people from the internet also, but a lot of us don't even know our own neighbors. A lot of us don't know the people we're staying next to. We don't have communications with them or conversation with them. Um, my childhood home, there were plenty of people that lived on my block I never had a conversation with, been living there 20 years, 10, 15 years, didn't have a conversation with them. I mean, it is American culture. It's a little bit sad for sure, but there were some neighbors I did speak with. You mess with some of your good neighbors and some of them you don't, but it is what it is, right? Um, Again, that has American culture has kind of shaped us into kind of minding our business and working and making sure that we are just focused on our own wellness, protection, security, comfortability, health, because work is stressful enough. Work is stressful enough, right? So, I'm coming out of that because again, I believe that community is the most valuable asset. Your network, you know, may be better than your net worth for sure. I just feel like people are more suited to move into something great, right? Like, I'll stop sharing screen for a minute because I want y'all to see something. There is this conversation that they're talking about on TikTok with these flock cameras and things like that because the flock cameras are um of concern because this is a private company that's taking data from people. The new cars, people are not really feeling the new cars. There's this DIY TikTok on how to pretty much deprogram your vehicle, demodernize the new vehicles, taking the modem out the vehicles because of surveillance. They are sending a lot of the data to the police, data to corporations, data to um, many different entities that you didn't really agree to. Like your privacy is really being sold right now. um, RFID chips that it's currently reading. So, in addition to them being able to read your license plate, they are pretty much gathering your digital footprint, meaning that no matter where you go, you could change vehicles all day long, or you could change outfits or change whatever it is that you have. They are pretty much tracking your every move with the RFID chip. Now, I do have a passport with the FDI RFID chip. They put those in around 2020. 2021, go figure. When I got mine renewed, um I got a passport, you know, what is it? I forgot the term. It's not coming to mind. But anywho, reason why I brought this up is because of this bag. Okay, Mission Darkness bag. I have one for my laptop and I have one for my passport as well as my telephones. When you have this particular bag, it blocks out the signal, the RFID signal. Okay. Okay. I got this a couple years ago because, again, as I've been telling you all, I do practice what I preach. I've been telling you all about the whole biometric digital social dystopian society that they are creating. Okay. So I had invested in one of these and as well as for my laptop because, in addition to these companies doing it, it's regular everyday weirdos that you're running across also that have this technology in their pockets that are reading every single thing about you and extracting your data. Okay? Because again, um trafficking is on the rise. It has always been here, but a lot of people really um have not really paid attention. Okay? So when I am out and about, I am always protected. Now, here in Costa Rica, I don't really have to worry about that issue. But when I was in America, I did not care about having a glorious Gucci bag. Though that's nice. I get it. But for what it is that we are up against right now in this society, get you a fanny pack, with a Faraday cage built inside of it that protects your passport, that protects your phones, and anything with a chip and a tracker. Because the 1984 society is amongst us people. It really is. I know people think, oh, that's crazy or whatever, but when you really see what is what is at play, especially with the whole Palantir society and that business and the whole Palantir society that they are creating where there is nowhere to go. There is nowhere to run. You will do whatever we say you're going to do. And they already revealed to us what they have been doing to the children in the background. If they already control your livelihood through business, through the food that they're feeding you, through the media that they're feeding you, you're utilizing their electricity, you're utilizing their cars, their gas, you're utilizing um, their banking system, their credit cards. You don't think you may not do what they say? A whistleblower in Social Security, the Social Security Administration, had also just revealed that the plans of the Trump administration was to cut off um, benefits and access to people's social security numbers and mark them as deceased, making it absolutely miserable for them. And these were United States citizens as well as legal residents that they were doing this to. They wanted to denationalize them. So it was this was an internal document, an internal memo to approve the 2.7 million people that were legal. Okay. But they wanted to make it so miserable for them that they couldn't bank. They couldn't get an apartment. They couldn't get a job. They got fired. Couldn't make payroll or whatever because their social security wasn't working because they were marked as deceased. So then by the time they go, while when life becomes so miserable in this society because you're not operating under a social, you then go to the Social Security Administration and ICE will be waiting on you to deport you, although you were legal. These are the plans. And I have been telling people for a very long time, it doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not. The plan is to make it very difficult for you to navigate in their society if you do not do what they want you to do. Y'all have to understand, they revealed to us exactly what it is that they have been doing to the children in the background. You do not think that people are not angry right now about that situation, ready to do something about that situation. But remember, they own everything anyway. So if we're not going to be serious about building our own stuff, there's no reason to complain. But if you're anything like me, you're always going to find a solution to everything that they got going on. People think we're crazy. People think we're all kind of stuff, but I don't care. I don't care. I'm sure they had the cameras walking everywhere. They ain't never walked up to me and said, "Hey, can we see what's in your bag? You're suspicious because you have one of these." It is my right to privacy, and they know that. That is a Fourth Amendment right, but a lot of us don't enforce our right. It's my right to have one of these bags. I don't want y'all reading shit I got going on. It's not your business. It's my right to wear my makeup all crazy because I don't want to deal with your biometric surveillance camera reading my business. That's another First Amendment right, freedom of expression. You know what I mean? I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not violating anybody's rights. We have a right to form. We have a right to form our groups. We have a right to live amongst each other. We have a right to convene with one another because we have a specific spiritual purpose, our religious purposes. We come together through the power of God because we care about one another. We don't want to see each other homeless. We want to look out for our brother and sister. Let's buy land together. Why would they shut that down if we do everything legal? We don't live in a time period, and I'm sure they didn't make up for that. I mean, come on. Fulton County, Georgia just came out with a report that said that based off of the damage that they did to black people alone, they owe about $1 trillion to black people, especially those in Fulton County, Georgia. And that's just one county in America where they owe $1 trillion based off of the damage that they did to black people. So that's why they avoid the reparations conversation in America because they know that they owe us everything. Everybody worldwide would be broke. Everybody worldwide would be broke if they actually gave what is due to Black Americans for setting us back, all the damage that was done. Okay, so we know that Tulsa and other different areas in the world, not in the world, but in the United States, were affected and never recovered. And there were things that they did to us historically that made us very apprehensive about doing things like this again. But I'm telling y'all, the time is now for us to do this again. They've already revealed to us their plans. They already revealed to us everything. And the reason why I feel like a lot of the data centers are here, not because of AI. AI has always been here. They're just allowing us to use it. I believe that a lot of the data centers exist because of the underground society in the underground world that they're forming. That's personally my opinion. A lot of the cities underground because they got to run it underground. After everything that they revealed to us and things like that, I just think that they're powering what's underground. And there was a woman that I watched on TikTok. Like I told y'all on my last live, she's a civilian and she reports to high ranking military. She said that she's been getting several calls for her to return back to work because um, they want her to start doing emergency planning for insurgency in the United States. They believe that insurgency is going to happen. They believe that there is something brewing where there's going to be civil unrest. So we don't know what that is just yet. She doesn't really know, but that's what it is. You got the ghost job market, like I said, that is happening where people are getting denied jobs. They're not getting any call back. You have AI also blocking people immediately, their job applications at 2 and 3 in the morning. They know nobody's up. That's AI doing it. And yet they are offering jobs that people are not applying to people who are essential in government to restore order in government, people that didn't even apply for jobs. They're like, yeah, we need you back. We need you to come out of retirement because emergency planning is essential for insurgency. We believe insurgency may happen. So we don't know what could happen. All right. So again, thank you for that dialogue. Let me read these comments. Peace, peace, peace. I found that buying land outside of major cities or places are often the cheapest. Absolutely. Here in the Netherlands, buying land is most optional in abandoned places like farming lands, like other EU countries. I basically feel like that's the best thing you should do. And Europe is a good place to, especially rural Europe, where you can buy things cheaper. You know, y'all make me feel sane. Yeah, you should. You should feel sane. The rest of society is a little bit crazy for not even getting on board with this. So, like I said, if you can come with people in your area, where you're at in the Netherlands, and find you a property or place to stay, where people can come together and buy land, I think that's the best thing and the best option. I'm not really sure where there's land for sale in Europe. I don't know if I could find a website, but yeah, I think it's a great, wonderful idea where people can come together and just buy land with small amounts. You know, I'm making clips on TikTok so that people can see this as well. Like, hey, just to get this property, we need 2,000 people, $500. You know, $500 each. Help us form the entity, pay the taxes on it, um, closing costs, etc., registration. Let's buy it. We can work on we can work on wells and plumbing and septic and all of the other stuff at a later date. Right now, we're just focused on buying the land. You got $500. I know it's 2,000 people out there. If we can come together for GoFundMe's and we come together to buy concert tickets, go on tours and vacations and things like that, we can come together to secure our futures. Like I said, Social Security is running out in 6 years for Gen Z. They will have nothing. The homeless population for the elderly is bound to double by 2030. It's at 46,000. It's going to be at 108,000, 106,000 homeless. The population of people who have been living in their cars has doubled since 2021. We're almost at 500,000 people in America living in their cars. That's just statistics, right? I'm sure the number is much higher than what they're reporting. I don't think they want to reveal that America is actually a third world country now. They don't want to reveal that. Too much embarrassment. All we need, 2,000 people, $500. Let's get to work. Let me make sure my math is right on that. 2,000 times 500. Yeah, I'll say 700. Yeah, $700. 2,000 people, $700. Yep, 2,000 people, $700 just for this property. That would put us at $1.4 million. Okay, Got to pay for closing. Got to pay for entity costs, escrow, all of that, right? Yeah. You don't think 2,000 people can stay on 122 acres comfortably? And that's just to buy the land. You just put up $700 with 2,000 people just to buy the land. And I already got the infrastructure ready. I got the infrastructure ready, guys. I got the infrastructure ready right now. Like the website live and everything. It works. Like we gotta stop tripping, yo. Like let me show y'all again. Cause I feel like people think this is like a pipe dream. It's like, no, this is real. This right here is the website. The app is live and functioning and working. Go and read the terms and conditions, right? You can go to pricing right here. My people out there, this is the community membership. Literally, there's already picked land plots for the community membership. All right. So this is what it is right here. There's already picked lots for the community membership because it's lifetime. If you want an active seeker membership or multi-region where you want to invest in multiple properties at once, then you can go with the active seeker membership or the multi-region. Community, $40 lifetime. That's all you pay for a lifetime. But the groups are pre-created and the groups are or the land plots are or land parcels are already pre-selected. All right. I tried to make it as inclusive as possible. We have the BIPOC groups, we have LGBTQ plus groups because they may want to live amongst each other. We have family groups, family oriented groups. We have child free groups where people don't really want children there. What and I understand that. And then also we have a group with all women. Okay, so yeah, like so for my people that just have the $40 and you can't really afford the subscription, but you want to buy the land, um, and that's all you got right now is your 400 for lifetime, and then at the time you pay for your property is $500. Starting out, and this will be a good option. I think that's crazy. Like for people, people don't realize how crazy this gonna go. I don't think people realize how crazy this gonna go. Like y'all better get in on it. Get in on it. Seriously. Like, because with the statistics are showing us that it's not getting any better if we continue to do things on our own. It's not. So that's my website, landkendra.com. The land was always yours. Now it's time to take it back. Right? This connects BIPOC, LGBTQ plus, and first generation land seekers to find their people, pool their resources, and co-own land together. And again, we do not take your money. We don't take your money. Your money is being sent right to the escrow company. We talk to the real estate broker. We say, is the land still available? She says yes. The seller is on board. The seller wants to sell to us. Then you send your money to the escrow. The escrow agent is to send the money to the seller. So it's clean. Ain't nobody running off with anybody money. All right. And we give you resources on how to do this. I'm still trying to figure out. I mean, I've done it in Costa Rica before, sure. But I do want to get into the European market. I do want to get into the South American market, and in Africa as well. Get in with people who are familiar with that process down there. But right now, we're starting with the United States because the homelessness population is out of control in the United States, and a lot of people are not looking to go abroad in the United States. All right. So if I go to join LandKen, see this is my admin screen right here. So this is the back. This is the back end. See, we got the escrow readiness tab right there, land groups that are already active, land listings, and these land listings are marked as no zoning, okay, agricultural freedom where people can grow what they want and do whatever they want, no zoning, Intel Hub and Intelligence Hub articles that were posted, blogs and stuff like that. We have a deed watch section for protect your land. So people that already have land and deeds or whatever, they can go there and do deed watch. If you're a land host, right? If you're a land host, you're somebody that already owns land, but you also want to sell off parts of your land. Um, and I don't want to say sell off parts of your land, but you want to form a corporation or an entity. You want to be in business with others, and those people pay you money so that way y'all can form community together on your land. So that way they can have their house, their asset is secure, they're not going to be evicted from the land, their children are not going to be evicted from the land. They can stay on the land with you together. All right. So this is for people that already have land and looking for other people that they want to build with. You could do the whole interview process amongst the people that are on our website. You say, hey, I bought land here. I have 10 acres or whatever the case may be. I'm looking for 5 people that I can share with. I'm selling memberships for $5,000 each. Right. And then you have the ability to be able to pass this on down to your children if you pass away or whatever the case may be. You know, you can do that. Like I said, nobody's doing this. I already got it together. Right. I say, Shelly, I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah. This is amazing stuff. Because I'm doing it here in Costa Rica. Again, Costa Rican land is getting more expensive. A lot of people are probably, going to other places outside of Central America, maybe into South America, next door, Panama. People are not really looking at Nicaragua because of dictatorship and things like that. But Costa Rica is getting a little bit more expensive. I intend to stay here because I have familiar roots here. Um, and I just intend to stay here. I have property here, and I just think it's a great fit. I can't wait to see what Costa Rica would look like in the next 10 to 20 years. So, and I don't mean in a gentrified manner. I believe in more of an integrated manner because I've talked to several Ticos also about my app. Using this app also to combat gentrification because there's a lot of that going on in our communities, and I believe that we can start taking ownership over our. There's a lot of gentrification happening. 40% of a lot of the non-residential buildings are owned by corporations. Okay. And there's a lot of corporations that own residential buildings, and people are not I wouldn't say people, but it's more so of corporate small family ownership, corporate ownership over small family homes. That's a problem. That is an issue. And we need to call it for what it is. It's a serious problem. It's so strange how we Europeans were so deceived to believe that the USA is the best place to be. Yep. And now a lot of US citizens are leaving the US, fleeing to Central South America or Europe. Absolutely. Everybody worldwide was brainwashed into believing that the United States was the best place to be. Everybody was brainwashed. I mean, of course, Black Americans already knew that. We told people all over, like, "Are you serious? This is not the best place to be." Right? What are you talking about? But there's this big propaganda media machine worldwide that sold the American dream. And it's so funny because this comedian, I forgot his name, but he said, they sell you the American dream because you have to be asleep to actually believe it. You have to be asleep to actually believe in it. And a lot of people worldwide are asleep. They don't recognize that it is a country where outside of the world scope, it's a place where people make money. You don't actually want to live there. I mean, it's a beautiful country, but living within the corporate bounds of the United States, it's not a place to live. I would prefer for people to live in rural areas where you're kind of away from all of that stuff, the toxicity. The problem is it's so toxic, and it doesn't prioritize the human, the family, the religion, the spirituality. It doesn't prioritize that. It mainly prioritizes money. It prioritizes corporations. It prioritizes the grand agenda that many Americans don't even know exists. It prioritizes the military industrial complex because they have to make money. And the more war that they're engaged in, the more money that they make. That's the realness. More money they make is based off of how much war that they're in. I know that's crazy, but it's true. We have to get, clear on this. But I just also want to say that no matter where you go, there you are. So every country has its problems. Costa Rica is not exempt from problems. Every country, anywhere you go, has problems and issues. It does not matter. So you have to pick your poison. I believe that a lot of the land is also cheap in America in comparison to other places. So you can make it work and build with others and then have your real American dream that you create. But if you're banking on it to come from you working super hard, I just believe that people just shouldn't be working as hard anymore. We're over that. If we work together, we can get so much done. Let's stop working so hard. This hyper individualism is killing us. Let's stop working so hard. It doesn't make sense. Like I said, 2,000 people right now, you have $700. You come together, you buy this, and y'all clear. Then the next agenda, y'all move as a business and say, you know what, we've evaluated everything. Now let's move on to the next thing. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to install more wells, more septics. We're going to start cleaning and clearing up the land. That's going to cost us another $50,000, $60,000 or whatever the case may be, right? Then the 2,000 of y'all come together and divide that 60,000 by 2,000. Okay, now that's done. Now the group comes together and say, okay, guys, we got 1 year to do this. This is what's on the agenda. Okay, this is the goal. We need X amount of dollars. And then you go to work now because you got a purpose now. You got a purpose now. You see your purpose now. So you're not worried about, oh my God, I hate my job. This is a means for you to exit out of that. You understand what I'm saying? By being smart about your resources, by coming together, we don't have to work so hard anymore. I've been burned out by working hard so much. Like I literally was down here running. I wouldn't even say I was running a business. My business was running me. I was running a six-figure business. The six-figure business was running me. And I'm working 16, 18-hour days in Costa Rica. Ridiculous. And I can't even enjoy nothing. I can't go on vacation here. I can't do much in here. Like I can't do nothing. I'm so tired. I'm so stressed out. Sure, I had money. That's great. But I don't have time. My friends were the Uber Eats people, the delivery people. I'm the only people I saw during the day because I didn't have the time to cook. The highlight of the week was me going to the farmer's market in the morning before my shift started. Okay? Because I was literally running on the mouse wheel for my own business that I created as an entrepreneur. I wasn't working for nobody else, but the business that I was running was so wild at the time in terms of customers. I could not handle not taking a day off. I had to keep up. You understand? And I was ignorant on my own systems. I was ignorant on the system, on how to, pretty much make it efficient where I'm not burnt out. I grew burnt out and I said, I'm over this. We don't have to work hard like that. I'm not working hard anymore. I'm working smart. I had to learn the hard way to work smart. It's about my mindset and my feeling about the situation, right? See, some people they would rather go live in their cars, live in California or whatever, to go work their jobs. But don't tell them. But if you tell them, okay, well, just move to another country, get you a work from home job, or figure out how you're gonna make some money. Like they look at you crazy. Like, no, okay, but you make $1,300 a month. Why not go to Vietnam and spend $200 a month on rent? My place before when I got here first initially last year, okay, my first place was $280 a month. That included water. That included um no, it didn't include lights. My bill, the highest that my electricity bill had been was $15. I mean, $30. But I was using a lot of electricity. I was using tools, charging up stuff, like But on average, like these 2 months for my place that I'm at now, my bill was $13 each month for electricity, right? And it includes my Wi-Fi too. I had a washing machine where I wash clothes and everything. I wash a lot during the week. Okay, so you would rather go sleep in your car because you want to be close to people and put yourself in danger than just go to another place where you start over, you reset your mind, you heal your internal world, you make your money, and then you come back. Because that's what I did in 2020. I realized that I was tired of the way things were going for my life in America. I saw another way. I met someone down here. They was paying like 100. There was a senior, okay, actually, which is what this conversation is about. They were a senior, okay. They were a senior. They were paying I would say $175 a month in rent in Costa Rica, and it was beautiful to watch them because I'm like, wow, okay. They didn't really speak a lick of Spanish, but they were very fluent in their 20 years of living down here. They left in the early 2000s because they were sick of America. And I said, you know what? There's another way. I feel like I trust myself enough to be able to create a business where I can make at least $1,000 a month. I ended up making $10,000 a month, but I told myself, you know what? I can do this because if she can do it, I know I can do it. I may not be able to find a place for $175 a month, but I can definitely find something much cheaper than where I stay. So I went back home to America. I got another job as a therapist in addition to working at the schools. And I just stacked my money up. And then COVID hit, and then COVID was paying the same amount that I was, working basically almost $4,000 a month. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna save this money. I'm gonna work on my business online, and I'm gonna come up with something powerful that people are gonna utilize and see as useful. And then from there, I moved out of the country. From there, came December when they opened up the borders again to come into Costa Rica. I moved in December of 2020. Yep. And I have been working online ever since, working for myself ever since. I have not had a job since then. So you can do it. But I told people I worked hard because that's what I kept telling myself. I have to work hard. I have to do this. And it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. But then I realized, like, if we can do stuff together, it's going to be so much easier. I had this eldest daughter syndrome, have to work hard, seeing so many hard things in my early life. And I just was like, yeah, I'm just going to work hard so I don't have to deal with all this stuff because I know there are things I'm not going to want to deal with. So that means I have to work hard. I was telling myself that. But I didn't realize there was just such an easier way to do things, just manifest things differently. And I had to go through things in life where I had to be sat down and just say, you know what? Bump working hard, relax, relax. Let the money go, let the money machine go, which was hard at first. But then I got it all back and then some anyway by just resting and trusting the process. And again, allowing my money to work for me, not chart watching all the time. Like just allowing my money to work for me and trusting, allowing the universe to guide me to different investments, different things, and allowing my money to work for me. Where I don't have to just sit here and just stress all the time. And even if you do have a job right now, like again, coming together with other people that are like-minded, where y'all can buy land together and and create a community together is peak. To have anywhere between $500 and $1,500, you're tripping, man. We don't have to work as hard anymore, y'all. We just need to work smart because, like I said, this here, these bags, y'all gonna need to get Faraday cages for your cars. You gonna need Faraday cages for your passports, your bags. You're gonna have to be wearing crazy makeup in that society, this whole Palantir society that they got. And they're soft launching it in the black communities first. I just want y'all to know that. They soft launching them in the black communities first. Okay? Palantir is being launched in the black communities first. So this whole society where they're tracking people, they're tracking you, tracking your kids, not having no financial transaction freedom, which is the most important thing. These people are high level politicians in your government, owned by corporations. The government infiltrated by these corporations, by other governments who literally control the entire financial system. They can take your money away today and say, "Damn the law. We don't care about no law. We can take over you anytime we want. Do anything to any one of y'all anytime you want." The problem is right now they're scared of us holding them accountable. But at this rate, I'm looking at the situation, I'm gauging the situation, and a lot of people are still in the mindset of, well, no, they must do. First of all, we live in a realm where there is no consequence. Okay, there's no given consequence. Okay, that's what the ancestors tried to tell us about. You live in a realm where there's no governed consequence. Man has to make consequence. Man has to realize that they are God in motion. Man has to make consequence. That's the part about this realm that many people still to this day don't understand. So while they're looking for the government to actually be accountable, no, you have to hold the government accountable. People deserve to be punished for certain things. Okay, you have to be the enforcer. When people have gone rogue, you have to put people back in check. That's what people don't get about this particular realm. And if you don't want to be on any side of that, then I suggest you spend a lot of your time not working as hard, but doing the work internally on your internal world. The reason as to why I'm able to manifest a beautiful reality where I personally can rest, can put myself first, again, purchase my land. I've been telling y'all a long time ago. I said, I don't care, rain, sleet, snow, whatever's going on in this world, I'm going to purchase that. That retreat center, I'm going to do that. Me being a medicine woman, I'm going to do that. Took a lot of time, took a lot of resources, whatever, money, but I was able to accomplish both. There are other things, again, that I'm also doing. And I'm one of the only trained, quote unquote, melanated women in the United States qualified to serve a certain medicine. Now, am I doing that right now? No, I have other things that I want to accomplish. But it's one of the things that I wanted to complete. Okay? One of the things that I wanted to complete. Because I see that there's a serious need for us to be able to journey safely in our community and come into our best selves. Come into the magic of who and what you are, your relation to this, to what God itself, to this reality as a co-creator. Okay? So those are the things, again, like I said, I wanted to accomplish. And there's many other things that I've been able to accomplish too. But again, it came with me having to realize and recognize that there is nothing on this planet that I cannot have. I don't wish to dominate anybody. I don't wish to control anyone. I don't wish to overpower people either. I do want to live amongst others in community, amongst love. However, there are things that in order or there were things that I had to do in terms of changing my mindset, changing my relationship to money, changing my relationship to how I viewed this reality, changing my relationship. And once you do that, you can then, once you do that, there's nothing that you can't have. Once you do that, you'll realize there's nothing that you can't have. You do have to work, but not work hard, if that makes sense. Everything is external. Everything is external. That's what they told us. Life is external. You got to work hard. You got to pay attention to your outer world. No. The outer world is literally responding to my inner world. And the minute you understand that and you recognize that, there's nothing on this planet you can't have. Peace from Amsterdam. What's up? What's up? What's up? Okay. The game was meant to be told, not sold. That's why a lot of things are backfiring. Father, Mother God, and Plant Earth is upset in the showing. Yeah, we're also upset in the showing as well. So, um, again, we have to hold, one accountable, change things around. That's the reason I prefer creating valuable digital content people can repeatedly buy or subscribe to per month. Physical labor entrepreneurship is extremely taxing in this economy. I agree. If you create a valuable product or service that people do not mind um, subscribing to per month, it's amazing for you. Like I invested in a software that makes um excuse me, that makes video clips for me because it was so exhausting to make videos or whatever and then create clips and then schedule them and all of it. And now I don't have I do not have a problem supporting a company that's doing the work for me. Great. you know, because I do want to run things on autopilot. I want to attract quality people that recognize the power of what it is that I'm trying to do, that also want to benefit from what it is that I'm trying to do as well. That, my creations as well. People that are absolutely serious about owning land and coming together and creating community, you know, and you don't need a lot of money, but are just as passionate. You know, you don't have to agree with everybody that's in the group. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to agree with everybody that's a part of my community either, but we're neighbors and we work together because I believe that there is probably going to be something that's going to force us to come together and work together anyway. That's what they're rolling out. The agenda is so um you either choose to succumb to whatever it is that they want or you choose to work together with your neighbor and squash different quarrels or whatever the case may be, so that way you all can take care of your needs, because the alternative is doing whatever it is that they want you to do and then there's no way out of that. And I just choose not to live in that kind of society. I would really hope that you all choose the same. Like, come on, man. I mean, there's so much property, like I said, even the United States or whatever, where it's you could be so far removed from all that foolishness, to be so far removed from whatever predictive programming that they want you to succumb to, such as quote unquote civil wars or biometric data tracking, this, that, and the third. Getting out of the city and just going to go to another place to create your own reality. I'll leave with this. There's a film, I think it came out in like 2024. The film Civil War. Okay, with I think her name is Kirsten Dunst. That was a good movie. But the thing about that film that was striking to me was um they said, "Well, what's going on in the rural areas or whatever?" And she said, they're not acting like any of this is going on. They're in their own worlds, far removed from all of this, far removed from all of this. Yeah, because they're in the rural areas. They're far away from all the drama. They're far away from all the action. They are in their own worlds, tuning it out. And you never saw them anywhere in the film. You never saw that the war went to the rural areas. You never saw them messing with those people out there. It would be a waste of time, energy, resources, and gas to mess with anybody that's out of the way, who's not even a threat to anybody. Leave people alone. And the more of us that are connected to that, we'll be fine. The more of us that have phones that are connected to, different node networks that work off grid, self-hosting our computers, our networks. We got our own cyber decks, cars that are not connected to the quote unquote grid, vehicles, etc. Met a guy talked to a guy a long time ago. He converted his diesel engines to accept vegetable oil. So he was going into town to the grocery stores, communicate with everybody, running errands on vegetable oil, dirty vegetable oil, not even diesel gas, babe. Yeah. And he ain't bothering nobody. He wrote a whole book on it. He not scared of, the quote unquote government or the powers that be. He minds his business. He minds his business. We sometimes we think the worst that things could happen because we want to live an alternative life. Because we live alternative lives. We think that there's just so many bad things that could happen, and it's not the case. It's just simply not the case. People can literally live their own worlds and live their own lives on their own terms and conditions. And for him, he's a sovereign. He did it the other way, where he didn't do the community route like when I'm preaching people do. He didn't do it in that fashion. He didn't have to. He had more money. He had more resources. But I feel like we should all do it together. Because at this point, we don't have another option. The other option is doing whatever it is that they want us to do. And I don't want to take no orders from those folks. We got to stop thinking negative, change our mind, work from the inside, stop working so hard on the outside, change our mindset on the inside, and come together and work with people who are just like us, like minded. I mean, that's crazy. You could literally be a part of different communities because you paid $500 for each community. That's crazy. You paid $500 to join each community, and you have access to each community's land. You be able to have your property on that land, a small or tiny house or whatever the case may be, whatever. You have the ability to do that for all the different land projects you want. That's crazy. That's crazy. Building something magical, y'all. Go to landkindred.com, sign up. Our membership, we have a membership where you can just pay $40, $40 for the lifetime fee, right? Those groups are pre-selected, pre-created, and the land listings, right? The land listings are already pre-selected from there. But then we also have the subscription models where you can go there and you can create the groups you want, and you can select the land groups you want. I mean, not land groups, but you can select the different listings you want or vote together with the group on what kind of land listing you guys would like, etc. So again, it's for people who are ready to join right now, who got the money right now, right? Anywhere between $500 to $1,500 a month. If you're on a lower spectrum, there's a group ready for you. All right. So much love. I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you all so much for tuning in and signing off.